Namaskar, welcome back to Media Scan. Viewers, we are back with one of the top headlines of the week on which we will try to throw some light with the help of our esteemed guests. Viewers, something very interesting and also unexpected happened during the week when more than 600 eminent lawyers, legal luminaries of the country wrote a letter to the CJI pointing out that there is a concerted, a well-planned attempt to undermine the judiciary. They named a set of people or a set of lawyers, law-knowing people who are trying to pressurize the judiciary and influence the outcomes, in a way defame the courts, and thus trying to influence the judiciary, undermine the judiciary. The allegation being that this attempt to vitiate the atmosphere and create mistrust in the minds of the people is being done for a particular political purpose. Lawyers who have raised this issue by sometimes referring to the past as the golden era or trying to make comments on cases even as the case is on are actually creating false narratives, and there is a clear political purpose in that. There is also a mention in the letter about how the people who are raising it not only have a distinct political agenda, but they are also associated with political parties. So, is Indian judiciary really being undermined? Is there a threat to the judicial process, the outcomes of sensitive political cases? Are people losing trust on the judiciary, often referred to as the ultimate recourse when nothing else works in the country? To understand more about this and get to the bottom of the issue, I have here with me some very well-known eminent lawyers of the country who will be able to tell us why there was such a need for a letter or not. Joining me here in the studio is Ramakant Gaur, well-known lawyer, is known to practice on cases which particularly relate to cases of corruption, cases of the ED, the income tax, the DRI and related issues. Namaskar Ramakant Gaur, welcome.
Namaskar ji, thanks for having me.
Also with us, two more law-knowing people, Manan Mishra, Chairman of the Bar Council of India, well-known lawyer in the Supreme Court and other courts, has been vocal in expressing his views in various capacities. Also, one of the people who led this letter addressed to the CJI, the much talked about headline making letter. Manan Mishra, namaskar, welcome to Media Scan.
Namaskar.
Also with us today, Hitesh Jain. You have heard him on Media Scan on earlier occasion. Hitesh Jain is another well-known lawyer, and may I add, he is also a signatory to this letter that we are going to talk about. So, let me come to Manan Mishra first. Manan Mishra, why was there a need for such a letter?
See, you have already narrated the background under which we were compelled to write that letter to the Honorable Chief Justice of India. So, baseless allegations against the institution, against our judges, naming certain judges also, for some ulterior purpose, ulterior motive, and to scandalize our institution, that is very bad. The lawyers of the country or the people of the country, they cannot tolerate. And such attempts, you might be seeing, such attempts are being made to scandalize the institution, to tarnish the image of our judges through social media and the print media, whatever it may be, is going on for last several months. There is a particular set of lawyers, a group of lawyers, handful of lawyers are there. Most of them are practicing in Supreme Court. We thought that in order to protect our judiciary, as per the Constitution, our Supreme Court is the guardian of the Constitution. Nobody can actually malign the image of our judiciary, but these attempts are being made, concerted efforts are being made just to lay undue pressure upon our judges, our Chief Justice of India.
Okay, Manan Mishra, very quickly, if it is just a handful of lawyers practicing in the Supreme Court of India, then why do you need such a strong worded letter about undermining of the entire judiciary in the country? I mean, are you trying to say that the judiciary is being influenced or maybe run by a certain set of people?
No. I did not mean that. Judiciary is to be run by the Chief Justice of India and the judges of Supreme Court. It is not to be run by any particular lawyer or anybody. But
Then why the worry?
to worry because this attempt, judges cannot come out to the public. They cannot protect or defend ourselves. It is for the legal fraternity to protect the judiciary. That is why we had to come. Judges, they can say anything only through their orders and the judgments. They are not supposed to come before the public, before the media in order to defend themselves. They cannot say some allegations, baseless allegations are being made. Bench fixing, so many allegations are there, but only lawyers who are practicing there and who are aware of everything. We are daily practicing in Supreme Court. Some of the lawyers of the high courts also, they are the signatories. Mr. Jain will say. So we know what is the truth.
Okay.
Whenever
We'll come back to one or two more, the most of the sensitive issues, particularly this allegation of bench fixing. But Hitesh Jain, very quickly, Manan Mishra was just mentioning about, some senior lawyers of the country practicing in the Supreme Court. Well, you have been practicing in Supreme Court, but you are based in Mumbai. You have been practicing in various courts of the country. Do you think situation came to such a pass that you had to sign a letter like this, which raises some very pertinent issues, but also kinds of, creates a scare about the judiciary?
Thank you, Smita ji. It's a great question. And I will add to what Mananji was saying. It is not just handful of lawyers, but quite a large group of lawyers. Along with the ecosystem, they try to influence the law students in the colleges. They try to influence the younger lawyer who are joining the bar. They are trying to influence the public at large. And they are trying to, basically what is happening is they wear the dual hat. One is the political hat and second is of the lawyer. And when they fail to obtain any relief for their political clients, particularly in the case of corruption, they are trying to paint the image of the judiciary as if everything is finished. There is no judicial independence and judiciary is acting at the whims of the government. Such kind of impression is tried to be created by these lawyers. So it is like my way or highway. If the reliefs are not in our favor, then the judiciary is not an independent judiciary, or they try to threaten. And now what we are seeing is that they have gone one step ahead. Earlier, you were hearing their views on podcast or separately in the seminars and all. But now they refer to this golden period openly while arguing the matters in the court when the judges
You were talking
are
of
not
Kapil
inclined
Sibal
to,
when he was arguing in court.
well, the council who argued about the golden period. I mean, we are all aware. It's not a hidden fact who made such kind of an argument. And I'll tell you, this is not a one-off situation. In 2018, 2019, he tried to threaten Justice Deepak Mishra also with the motion of impeachment, which they had to themselves, withdraw. So these are the standard tactics. This is a playbook which has been adopted in the past also. In the emergency era, you saw how the judges were superseded. So this is a pattern. One can see there is a large ecosystem at its play. Some lawyers also have gone to the extent of trying to compare the judiciary with judiciary in Pakistan and China. These are the senior lawyers who use the social media handles. And some of the social media handles are also agenda driven for framing such kind of false narratives and basically trying to create an opinion against the judiciary.
Ramakant Gaur, thank you for waiting. The Prime Minister, in a matter of few hours, tweeted the letter that we are talking about, and he said this has been an old culture with the Congress party. It was the Congress party that first gave the term committed judiciary, and they have been trying to do this for a long time. However, as a lawyer fighting cases related to corruption and other other subjects. Were you surprised by this letter?
I am not. There is no aspect of surprise in this. Indian judiciary is sacrosanct. There is no doubt about this. It is not a hidden fact that in January 2018, 4 judges of Supreme Court came to the media, lawns of media, and then said something is missing. Everybody knows that. So, no system is perfect. So, we need to look at the holistic perspective. Prime Minister has expressed his anguish. This is a welcome move. Mananji and other lawyers have signed a letter. It's a welcome move. They are worried about something. This is okay.
No, what
But-
about the contents in the letter?
See,
There are
content-
some very, very hard, hard-hitting allegations.
See, they say judiciary under threat. Let me tell you this, that in last 1 week, if you look at the cases handled by 2 benches, court number 1 and 2, Honorable Chief Justice said this to Mr. Mukul Rohatgi, that what is good for goose, it is good for gander. He did not take the case of SHM, the ministry, and one of the aspects mentioned by Mr. Adish Agarwal, the president of Bar Association, that you should take the effect of or sway the effect of electoral bond judgment for a while. He wrote to the president of India as well. At the same time, Kapil Sibal said this in K. Kavita's case, this would not be remembered as golden period. But it doesn't matter. See, the courts know how to hold, the judges know how to hold the court. So, as a responsible officer of the court, we said something, but the judges have held the courts in an esteemed manner.
Are you trying to say that the CGI should just ignore this letter because the courts will go with on the merits and the evidence?
It is what
they
it
need
is.
not. There need not be such a scare or worry.
It is what it is. Whatever situation may come, the judges have seen the period of emergency as well, when Justice Khanna was not given the helm of Chief Justiceship. He had to lose. Several judges at that relevant time in Delhi High Court faced transfer orders. It is not hidden. So, it has been happening.
Okay, let's ask Manan Mishra. Manan Mishra, Ramakant Gaur is saying that there is nothing new about it, and the Prime Minister himself hinted also the same thing. So, he is saying these things keep going on in the judiciary, other places. The courts are going, the judges are, wise enough to hold their courts, and they will follow on the merits of the case. Is there any need for such a concern in a public forum?
No. See, Mr. God is right. In the court campus, the courts are sovereign. They are to hold the actually court. But outside the court, if the judges and the institution is attempted and is being maligned, then who will come to their rescue? Only the lawyers and the general public. Otherwise,
So, this is more about the narratives outside the courtroom.
naturally, through the social media, the print media, and all these things, now you know that whatever goes on in the courts, that comes out immediately. Even the live telecast is there. Therefore, if any irresponsible comment is being made against any judge or against the institution, then that also comes out to the public. Therefore, the lawyers, the legal fraternity at least, is not supposed to keep mum and to be silent.
Okay. Mr. Gaur, you wanted to add something quickly.
See, Fali Nariman wrote, God saves Honorable Supreme Court, and it is the Fali Nariman. Now, Justice Rohington Nariman wrote a book in 2 volumes, The Discordant Notes, The Dissent Voice in the Court of Last Resort. So, if something is said about the judiciary, in a positive manner and the criticism is still there, it is welcome. It is a welcome move. It falls under the provisions of Article 19.
Okay. Yes, I'll take it to Hitesh Jain. Hitesh Jain, just as you thought it necessary to sign this letter drafted by some of your colleagues in various states of the country, the other side also has a right to express concern if there is something going wrong, if they feel there is something wrong in the judiciary. Just as Mr. Gaur mentioned, Justice Rohinton Nariman or other such people in the past, if they feel everything is not right, they can voice it. What is the need to create this kind of a letter? Let it be, let all views come out.
I'm glad you have asked me this question. The problem that is happening is the kind of tactics or the allegations that are being made towards the judges and the institution itself. It is not simpliciter criticism, and we should ignore such tactics, underhanded tactics at its own peril. They come with the consequences. Ultimately, the test is of the public at large and the faith of public in the judicial institution. When repeatedly you are trying to say that judiciary is towing a particular agenda, judiciary is not following the rule of law, someone else is driving the judgments of the judiciary, what is the kind of impression you are trying to give the common public at large? What is the kind of image you are building about the institution of judiciary? I mean, we have seen as a lawyers, we win some cases, we lose some cases. Ultimately, we are here because of the judiciary, because of the institution. The problem with these people is they are not criticizing when they are not getting the reliefs, and particularly the political advocacy and the political hat they are wearing, and they want to use the judiciary to basically serve the political purpose, to drive there when they fail in the courts of public. They want the judiciary to drive their political agenda. And when the judiciary is also not supporting, they are trying to name call the judiciary, they're trying to call the judges. And when you try to say that this judiciary has become like a job, what you see the judiciary in Pakistan and China, I don't think this is a simpliciter criticism, but a serious attempt to undermine the judiciary, tarnish the reputation of judiciary, and tell the people that that this is this is similar to anarchy. I mean, people who believe in anarchy spread such kind of allegations, and this goes beyond the line
Mishra, under the circumstances when different set of lawyers are expressing their concern, almost extremely diametrically opposite views, now you have written or signed this letter. What do you want the CJI to do? I mean, in what manner do you think he should take note of the matter?
We have made a request to take appropriate action against the persons who are trying to scandalize the institution and who are trying to lay undue pressure upon the judges and the judiciary. Well, it is for the CJI to decide. Action, see, we are to convey to the public that this is a concerted effort made by a group of lawyers who are trying to make baseless allegations against our institution, our judges. That is the purpose, that is the main purpose. The judges or the Chief Justice of India, they are not supposed to take any proactive action, or I don't think that they will initiate any contempt even. But our purpose was to convey this to the public and to bring the truth to before the public. That was the purpose.
Right. Mr. Gaur, two things raised by Manan Mishra and Hitesh Jain. Hitesh Jain said these are people, those which according to them are trying to undermine the judiciary, are people who owe political allegiance to a certain political party or class, and because they are losing out politically in the people's court, they are trying to now influence the judiciary. So, in a way, the politics of the country is playing out here, is one point. And Manan Mishra, as he said, as I asked him, what do you think the CJI can do under the circumstances? In what manner can he take cognizance of these concerns?
I gave the response with an illustration. These words, it would not be remembered as golden period, were said in Supreme Court in K. Kavita's case, a co-accused of Kejriwal. Now, Kejriwal approaches Delhi High Court and says this arrest of mine or remand of mine is illegal, unconstitutional, quash it. 21st March. 27th March, an order is passed, notice is issued by Delhi High Court. 28th, he is produced before a magistrate court, the same court which remanded him to the custody of ED, and he says, okay, I am not opposing, let my remand be taken.
So what is the point?
So the point is, Mr. Singhvi, who was arguing his case and scandalizing the entire institution of Enforcement Directorate, is now his client, being Arvind Kejriwal, is saying, I am ready to participate in the investigation. So all these
politics-
gimmicks are being played in the courtroom.
No, but then, it brings us to the original point that politics of the country is actually playing out in the courtroom.
So the courts are conscious. The Delhi High Court did not budge with the plea and pass a balanced order. The magistrate courts, at the same time, did not budge with the gimmicks of the politicians, pass the order for remand. Whatever he says, he might have said it is a political conspiracy. Then why are you giving up before the courtroom? So the
last point,
politicians.
what can the
So then why
CJI
to
do?
blame the judges?
So
When you say that the court did rightly, whatever orders were passed that were legally valid, then why to blame the judges?
I am coming to that point, Ms.
Okay, please
Mishra.
clarify that.
So, when these gimmicks are being played, various ambiguities are being portrayed through social media, the judges are able to hold their courts in a proper way.
Fine.
Now, when we come to the issue of latter or issue of instances where judiciary is being maligned, the right course of the action would be bring that particular instance to the cognizance of the court and let that issue and let that person be dealt with in accordance with law. These kind of latters are generic in nature. Chief Justice of India would simply smile and say, okay, thank you.
Okay.
What can he do?
Hitesh Jain, there's no point writing generic letters because they may make a lot of headlines, but you can only have redressal when you name specific persons, lawyers, cases, specific instances, if you actually want the top of the judiciary to really take action.
Well, I don't think the letter was generic. It was very specific. The allegations were very specific. We have pointed out to the fact about how an agenda has been created to malign the reputation of the judiciary, particularly in the political matters, where the lawyers who are wearing the political hat and also wearing the gown in the court, and when they fail to secure the relief, the kind of attitude and the kind of smear campaign they spread against the judiciary. I mean, for last 4 days also, there has been senior lawyers, there is a cabal of lawyers who have been basically trying to also spread the rumors as to how Supreme Court should have interfered in its power under Article 32 in the cases of certain politicians. While, by ignoring the fact that this will open the floodgates of the judiciary. For the common man, you relegate him to the trial court, but merely because he's a politician, you want the Supreme Court to open the door. By the way, also op-ed and articles
quickly,
are
Mr. Jain.
Are calling upon the Supreme Court that they should change the course of the procedure and give the special treatment because they are politicians and particularly they belong to the opposition parties. Now, if the qualification is you are an opposition, you are a chief minister of a state, you belong to an opposition party, and therefore you should have a preferential treatment. You should get a preferential treatment from the court. The court should pass a preferential orders for you. I mean, such kind of campaign. And when the court is not budging and passing the order, you do not stop there. Then you start a campaign on the social media. You start a smear campaign in the public at large. And you are basically trying to say that here the courts are not there for the justice. They just drive the agenda of the ruling party.
Right. We've been through that. We've gone through that, Hitesh Jain. I want to come to Manan Mishra. I just have less than a minute left for the show. Manan Mishra, all this discussion is fine and your concern is well taken. But what if the CJI chooses to ignore and just carry on with his work? Do you have anything else in mind to make your point further, or do we think it ends with the headlines of the week?
So see, our purpose was to protect and strengthen our judiciary. In that, actually, move, we have succeeded. Then you see, this is the time of Lok Sabha elections. Several politicians are facing corruption cases, and the matters are before the high courts and the top judiciary also. Therefore, the purpose of this group of lawyers was to lay undue pressure upon the judiciary, and on the other hand, to take undue advantage of all these letters and all these social media platform, and they were trying to make these courtrooms as the political battlefield.
Okay,
They
point taken.
will not allow them to succeed.
Point taken. Ramakant Gaur, I can only allow one line, and that is Mr. Jain was just hinting about these cases where senior politicians, including a sitting chief minister, their cases have come, and they have been there is a sort of an attempt for preferential treatment considering their high position and all that. Rather, I would think that somebody who holds the constitutional post like a chief minister or senior ministers, their responsibility is actually bigger than a common man's responsibility, because they hold that position. It just puts more onus on them. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Rather than preferential treatment, we should be stricter with people holding these positions.
See, whether it is chief minister or any politician, they don't know the law. Practically speaking, they don't know the law and the procedure. So it is their lawyers who says, and who in their overzeal may have made certain comments, and these comments do not make any difference. The courts of this country are not swayed by any emotion or by any assertions or by any campaign on social media.
Fine.
The courts are governed by law.
Right. So as Mr. Gaur was saying, the courtroom and the judges sitting there are not going to be swayed by social media or any such a smear campaign, if at all there is. But that cannot stop legal luminaries of the country from expressing concern if they think there is an attempt, and particularly with a political intention, to influence the outcomes of cases or to undermine the judiciary. Viewers, there is a difference of opinion here among our lawyers about whether this letter was necessary and also whether it will serve any purpose. But one point on which all these senior lawyers agree is that the judiciary, particularly the Supreme Court, remains the last resort of someone who has been wronged at all other levels, and when every other institution fails, we look up to the judiciary. That position must be maintained not only constitutionally, but also in the minds of the people. With that positive thought, we would like to wrap up this conversation on Media Scan this evening, but do connect with us next week when we come back with another headline issue. Before that, thank you very much Ramakant Gaur, Manan Kumar Mishra, Hitesh Jain for joining us at such a short notice for this insightful conversation. Till next week, namaskar.